What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post-game recap. As always, before I get started, if you can hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, especially if you're already subscribed. The like button helps me out a lot. Just helps get the video out to more people. Thank you to some of the new people that have subscribed. I hope you're enjoying the videos. My goal with these was originally, well, not originally, but still, just to kind of be somewhat therapeutic, maybe for Mariners fans, just a way to kind of be like, to put it on video to go, yeah, that's what I was feeling, but also, okay, I can take a deep breath, and know that it's not the end of the world and stuff like that. So now, maybe eventually it will be the end for the team, but, not yet. So that's kind of the goal of my videos, is to kind of, be a voice of reason for Mariners fans. Not someone that's constantly yelling about something or overreacting, but trying to give you an honest breakdown, giving you reasons why things happen the way they do, and so on. So let's get into it, because this game's got a lot to dive into. The Mariners lose tonight 6-2 to the Atlanta Braves. They dropped to 21-23 on the season. So just from the record standpoint, it just seems like this team is 3 steps forward and then 3 steps back. They climbed over the ladder, got over 500, and then right back below. Now, I mean, Boston, Atlanta, that's a tough road trip for any team to go on. That's not one where you necessarily expect to go in and win 4 or 5 games. Right now, the Mariners have won. I kind of at the beginning said, listen, if you can get 3-3, I'd be okay with that. In order to do that, they're going to have to win the last 2 in Atlanta. That's certainly not going to be an easy task. A lot of talking points in this game, and I'm going to get to all of them, from should Bryce Miller have been left in? Was Scott to blame? Was Trevor Gott the right decision? Everything that happened in this game, I'm going to talk about. So like I said, the Mariners lose at 6-2. Got down early, 1-0 in the first inning after 2 batters. It looked like this might be the start that Bryce Miller was going to struggle. You kind of thought he might be due. Rookie, he's .4 ERA so far. He wasn't going to keep that up all season. And this looked like maybe the game against the great Braves offense that he was just going to struggle. And then after that, he just completely settled in, and really I don't want to say dominated, but held a outstanding lineup in check. So in that sense, yeah, we'll say dominated. Bryce Elder on the other side was throwing the ball really well for the Braves, and it was 1-0 going into the 6th. The Mariners were able to get J.P. Crawford to third with 1 out. Ty France flew out to Michael Harris, who's got a great throwing arm. I thought it was a bad send by Manny Acta. JP was out by a mile. I understand it from the standpoint of this team is struggling to get runs, and you're trying to get something going, but it was a bad send. You did have Julio on deck. I know Julio's struggling, but I think I would have given Julio a shot there. In the 7th, though, Julio leads off with a double. Ends up going to third on kind of a wild pitch walk to Jared Kelenic. And then probably and then Eugenio Suarez base hit ties it. And then probably we can talk about everything in this game, and maybe with the way it ended up going, it wouldn't have mattered, but probably the most crucial at-bat and turning point was the Cal Raleigh at-bat. It looked like he had got one off McHugh that was going to go out. Ronald Acuna Jr., who you can make case best player in baseball, I probably wouldn't argue with you, made an incredible catch at the wall. Now, I don't think it would have gone out, but it certainly could have been easily off the wall. It would have been out at a few ballparks in baseball. And it could have gone off the wall, but an RBI double made it 3-1. Still nobody out, but he catches that. Now, Teoscar Hernandez does fall up with a base hit, 2-1. Then Trammell runs into a double play. And that ended the threat. So the Mariners did take the lead, but you were looking at, for a secondary thought, maybe 4-1, 3-1. Kind of changes the complexion of the game. So this is when the controversy sort of began. Scott sends Bryce Miller out for the 7th inning. I think Miller was at 88 pitches, 87, somewhere in that range. And then Miller he gives up a hit to Austin Riley, which could have been an error on Gino, but I think it would have been a tough error. It was hit hard, legitimate base hit. Almost got a double play off the bat of Rosario. It would have been a tough turn. Caballero kind of had a tough angle on it, and they weren't able to turn it. Walked Albies, and then that was it for Bryce Miller. Trevor Gott came in. Marcelo Ozuna got a dinky little blooper, which could not be more annoying if you're a Mariners fan right now with how this season's gone. But then after that, Arcia came up and blasted one off the wall. So that actually made me feel a little bit better about the bloop. And then the eighth, and then Gott ended up coming out. Topa came in, got out of that inning, and then Matt Olson homered, and just some more stuff happened in the eighth. Braves added on, hold on, 6-2. So the first thing let's talk about is, should Bryce Miller have gone back out there for the seventh? A lot of people screaming that water bottle doesn't need to be the main focus. That was stupid. They shouldn't have sent Bryce Miller out there. Scott's an idiot. If you go on Twitter, and you shouldn't. I mean, I'm on there, but it's kind of a cesspool of takes for your favorite sports team. It is all doom and gloom, which I get some of it. I do. But here's the thing. One, you saw what the bullpen did when it came in. Trevor Gott wasn't good. Topa wasn't good today. Saucedo was okay, but the bullpen didn't exactly shine. Matt Brash has been struggling in those kind of spots with runners on. So, you can't, it's easy to look at it like, oh, Miller should have been taken out because he put a couple guys on. But maybe he should have. Maybe he should have come out. What I'm trying to do is give the reason why I think Miller stayed in. I think, even though I know this bullpen has the lowest ERA in baseball, if you watched my live stream yesterday on Rooftop Mariners channel, we kind of talked about how there are some things with this bullpen that I think it's fine. I don't think it's a bad bullpen by any means, but they seem to struggle with runners on base. They seem to have trouble getting out of it, and they're missing sort of that just dominant. They've got a lot of really good guys, but they seem to be missing just a real dominant reliever. Paging Andres Munoz, that's where that injury, once again, probably rears its head there. A healthy Munoz, and again, I use him all the time as an example. I'm not saying Munoz would get out of every single tough situation he's in. He's a human being. He's going to give up runs eventually too. And the Braves can hit like nobody's business. So not guaranteed he would have gotten it done too, but that's a spot where you probably use him with runners on. An interesting one is maybe you go to Paul Sewald there. But again, that would be with runners on after leaving Bryce Miller in. So if you take Miller out, you go to Trevor Gott. Does he still struggle? Because Gott wasn't good. Topa wasn't very good today. And these are all guys that are decent reliever. They've been fine, but you're still talking about a lot of cast-offs here. And guys that aren't necessarily, relief aces. The term used to be relief ace. And the Mariners don't have one right now. He's on the injured list. Munoz is the best reliever this team has. Brash kind of has the stuff to do it, but he's been inconsistent. And you get a good glimpse today of why they've continued to use Brash in some high leverage spots, because they tried it with Trevor Gott today. It didn't work. Topa comes in. Now he does get out of the seventh, but then he starts the eighth. It doesn't work. So, I don't know if there was a good option there. And I know some people are saying Miller should have been taken out before the inning started. So that's fair. If that's where you were, then that's totally fair. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I was okay with leaving him in. I didn't have a huge problem with it. He wasn't at 130 pitches or anything like that. We've now treated 100 pitches like it's 150 pitches. He was at 89. It's not like he was going out there with 99 or 105. He's capable of going back out there. I might have even left him in to face Ozuna. Ozuna had been 0 for 2 against him with a couple strikeouts, looked overmatched. I think you could make a case for that too, and that's where I'm kind of going with this, is just you could maneuver it all around and say Scott could have done this, Scott could have done that. Yeah, at the time I thought, ooh, risky leaving Bryce Miller in, but when you take a step back, it's a tough spot, because I don't think this bullpen, while being really good, is also, I think there is some question marks on some of these guys, and especially now with Brash struggling a little bit. Now with guys on, it would have been interesting to maybe you go to Paul Sewald there and say, hey, this is the tightest situation in the game. Let's go to Sewald. Maybe our offense can add on some runs. I wouldn't have been against that. I do think Scott's been a little bit of a slave for the save this year with Paul Sewald, which I don't like. I think you just use your relievers where you can get them in the tightest spots. And right now, Sewald is your best reliever, and that was the most crucial spot in the game. So I might have gone to him there. I think that's a fair criticism, but I'm not super mad about Bryce Miller staying in there. Because if Trevor Gott would have come in and given up runs, there'd be people saying, oh, he should have stuck with Bryce Miller. So when the results don't work out, and I know it's not all results-based analysis by people. I know some people said Miller should have come out right away, but it is easier to say it after the result doesn't go the Mariners' way. Had they gotten out of that, people are like, hey, Scott's sticking with his young guy for 7, and maybe then they can get Topa and Seawald for the 8th and 9th and win that ball game. So frustrating. And the other guys we need to blame for this are the players. Like, Trevor Gott's got to come in there and get outs. Now, Ozuna dropped a little blooper in there. Not much he can do there, but it was a 0-2 pitch that was kind of a sinker that didn't sink. Now, did Ozuna get great contact on it? No, but 0-2, you got to bury a pitch there. Try to get him to swing and miss. That was not a high percentage swing and miss pitch. Now, again, he didn't make hard contact or anything, but you run the risk of that ball being put in play when you're putting it up there. So, and then Arcia blasted one off the wall. So some of the blame needs to go on the players. Trevor Gott's got to find a way to get outs there. I'm not going to put anything on Bryce Miller. He's making his 4th start. I'm not going to be, he should have gotten the outs. He was at the end of his line. He pitched really well. He was fantastic once again tonight, and deserved better fate. I'll tell you another group we need to put some stuff on. That's the offense. I think the mismanagement of the bullpen, or whatever you want to call it, or, in the 7th and 8th, kind of takes the pressure off the offense. The fact that they only put up 2 runs. And again, for I don't know, I don't remember where all they scored the runs on Wednesday because that game was just a mess. But where do they get 1 inning where they score? And that's it. That happened last Sunday against Detroit. It happened on Tuesday against Boston. They've got to find a way. And Elder's been fantastic this year, ground ball pitcher, tough pitcher to hit. But, if you go to Fangraphs, his expected ERA is in the 4s. I'm not taking away from him at all. He's been great. But I think there's reason to believe the Mariners could have gotten 3 or 4 runs. I think it's fair to say, hey, at least 3, something like that. They squander an opportunity in the 6th with a runner at 3rd, less than 2 outs. We've talked about that being a bugaboo for them, and they did it again with Ty France not hitting a ball deep enough. I mean, he hit it pretty hard. A bad send on JP. The top of the 1st, JP leads off with a single, Ty grounds into a double play. They had another inning, I think, where Kelenic had a walk caught stealing 2nd. I'm not against him going there, but you know what I'm talking about. Just some blown opportunities. And listen, in that 7th inning, Cal was not far away from hitting a home run and maybe a bases clearing double, and maybe we're changing our attitudes a little bit. But the offense wasn't good enough today. So they deserve some of the blame here too. The goal, I always say with managers that at the end of the day, good baseball teams win, bad baseball teams don't. I think managers' goal is to keep the clubhouse intact and everybody, on the same page. I think in-game strategy is a little bit overrated. Now, if Scott was like, hey, I'm going to go to that Jay guy that has a YouTube channel, he's in the stands, I'm going to put him in. Yeah, that's stupid. But the guy's got to get outs, no matter who it is, whether it's Bryce, whether it's Trevor, whether it's, Topa, whoever's in, they've got to get the job done. It's I don't think that anything egregious was done. Would I have handled it a little differently? Probably. I probably would have taken Miller out, but there's nothing that says that would have worked out okay either. We're still kind of splitting hairs. The team has to play better, and that's the bottom line here. And then again, I'm going to harp on it. This wasn't a 1-run loss. It kind of felt like it a little bit, but the Braves did out on the 8th. But there was some bad luck today. Ozuna's blooper gets it off the end of the bat, or the handle, drops in. Cal Raleigh's doesn't drop in. Now, there was some stuff with the Braves, too, in the 1st inning. Riley hit a ball really hard. Rosario just missed a homer. So it goes both ways. But, there were some moments that, Caballero gets that ball out a little quicker. Maybe they turn that double play in the 7th, and that changes that game around. So there were some little things there, too. But in general, it's... Yeah, you could say take Miller out, but that doesn't guarantee that 7th inning goes smoothly either, I guess, is what I'm really leaning on there. I don't think that it just guaranteed those guys get the outs. And again, Bryce Miller wasn't at 110 pitches after 6. He was in the 80s. The bullpen's been a little shaky recently. I think it has. I think it's solid, but I do think they're missing sort of that alpha relief ace right now. They don't really have it. Sewald might be the closest, but even there, Sewald's given up some hits this year and stuff. Now it's been in 2-run games and stuff, so it hasn't really mattered, but there's no guarantee Sewald gets out of that there. And then you bring in Sewald there. If they tie it up, you're going, oh, well, now you have nobody left for the rest of the innings. So it's easy to manage it back here. Again, not saying Scott necessarily handled it perfectly. And I'll be honest, I probably would have personally taken Bryce Miller out, but I don't think it's as crazy as if you go to Twitter, what you're going to see people complaining about. And again, I'll kind of go back to where's the offense? That's the thing here. Like, you're not going to win a lot of games at 2 runs, especially against the Braves. The Braves can hit, they can pitch, they can field. They do a lot of things well. That was not going to be an easy one to hold on to. Mariners dropped 2 games below 500. I'm not going to lie, I'd be okay splitting the next 2. You come home for Oakland for 4, Pittsburgh for 3. I've said every video, Pittsburgh is playing better, but that is 7 games. I think you have a chance to win 5, maybe 6 there, and do some damage. So if you can come home 22-24, I'm okay. I can live with that. 21-25, I mean, if that happens, I'll have to live with it. But then you start getting into, like, you're looking for 4 wins in a row just to get back to 500. So you really want to find a way to at least get one. I'd love them to win the next 2, go back home 500. I will take that. It would also ensure a winning road trip. Atlanta's not going to be easy, though. Now, the good thing is you got Logan Gilbert going tomorrow against what looks like maybe a bullpen day for the Braves. So maybe, and Atlanta's bullpen's really good, but maybe you have a chance there, not facing one of their great starting pitchers, to get in there and maybe get a W. So this was the game out of the 3 that I thought they're all losable. Again, Atlanta's fantastic, but probably the one I was most worried about. It's a shame they couldn't have pulled it out because it just would have given, like I said, a little bit of like gravy for the next 2 days, in my opinion. But it is what it is. I'm still not in panic mode yet. Again, if you can hover around 500 till June, you have a shot. If you're leaving into July, you're probably okay. And you're not buried, as long as you're not buried in the standings. And again, I'm banking that they can maybe get some wins against Oakland and Pittsburgh. Atlanta's a really good team. We saw why. We saw why tonight. So it's going to take something to get a couple games here. So hopefully they can bounce back and do it. Let me know what you guys saw of the games in the comments. Let me know what you would have done in the 7th inning. I think you'll find as you go through it in your head, it's not as easy as the Twitter world wants to make you think it is with management decisions. Again, I'm not trying to be just a Scott apologist. I would have probably managed that game differently, but again, like, the players have to execute at some point. The offense has got to get more than 2 there. It shouldn't. If your games are all coming down to management decisions, then you're probably not doing something right. Like, so it's easy to get on that, but it's sometimes hard for people to go, why isn't the offense doing more? So we'll see. Hope everybody has a great Friday night. Take care. Have a great weekend. Enjoy some baseball, and I hope everybody just enjoys their weekend. I will see you all tomorrow. As always, go Mariners. Take care and have a great night. Peace.